Hi, good evening. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast. Britain is at breaking point. A storm's been building for years, ignored by the powerful, denied by the mainstream press, and paid for by you, the public. It's here, that storm. It's the perfect storm. Why? What am I talking about? Well, illegal immigration is completely out of control, and we've got a man in charge, Keir Starmer, who is completely out of control. He's now pretending to be Nigel Farage. It hasn't even convinced his own party. They're up in arms about it. We have got no captain. Our country's got no rudder, and we're heading towards the rocks. And today, by God, it's been hot. And as it gets hotter, you know what that could mean. Thousands are arriving every month, many without checks, many with absolutely no right to be in the UK, including probably those Iranians who were going to blow up the Israeli embassy the other day. Luckily, our security services stopped them. But when you heard that Keir Starmer's house had been attacked, did you think, oh my God, this is it breaking? Listen, I don't condone that at all. I think it's disgusting. And they've got somebody now, haven't they, who they think may well be responsible for it. I'm not promoting that at all. But I just think we're sitting on a tinderbox. So many people are so upset. Do you know anyone who's happy at the moment? Thousands, as I say, arriving every month. The cost is in the millions, and that's just for the accommodation. And whilst families struggle to pay rent, the government is spending millions to house migrants in hotels, barges, and now private flats and houses. You've paid for it, but you weren't even asked about this. But it's not just about illegal immigration that we're in this problem. A few weeks ago, do you remember? Well, a few months ago now, Keir Starmer, our supreme leader, accused critics of being far right, followed by him pledging border reforms and then, of course, now echoing reforms policies. You saw that speech yesterday. I didn't believe a word of it. He was a complete and utter fraud. He was a liar, wasn't he? Are you with me or against me? If you're going to make a comment, very simple, just write it up in the side column. Moonhawk's just come on from YouTube. He says, is he in control or is it a script reader? Or is he a script reader? Yeah, he's like a TV announcer. He's just reading a script. He didn't believe any of that. And that's what panicked me. That is what panicked me. And then, of course, when they asked him directly, would you leave the ECHR? He said no. So how is he going to control it? Answer, he isn't. And he didn't even speak about the small boats. And it's the small boats that are winding most people up. Another 400 or 500 came today. Not so long ago, of course, Keir Starmer smeared ordinary people like you and me who are unhappy about this as far right for daring to raise concerns. I've lost track of the amount of times I've been called a Nazi or a fascist or a racist. I just got called it tonight by some idiot in Sheffield. Just because some woman said, oh, I don't want to live here anymore, I want to go home. I said, let's set up a GoFund page for her. It's that woman off the telly, Narinda. You know the one I'm talking about. But it was a joke. But suddenly I'm a fascist. No, that's funny. And she deserves it. She wants to go. I'm going to help her out. So not long ago, Keir Starmer was smearing people like you and me as far right if we dared to raise any concerns. Now, well, he's copying the same policies he once condemned. Isn't that the essence of being a hypocrite? He knows the people are angry, so then he tries to appease them by being a mini-me, Nigel Farage. Unfortunately, he's got neither the charisma, the style, the conviction, or the belief to pull that tribute act off. It's dreadful. And everybody saw through him. So the left of the Labour Party are up in arms because they think when he started saying things about a country with no culture and no identity, he was being racist. He was getting some of his own treatment then. And then there are sensible ones who aren't on the left, just think the guy's a complete and utter fraud. But more importantly, he's not in control. Imagine if the summer goes like often summers do and there are riots, he'll overreact again like he did in Southport. He could have stopped Southport, but he didn't, did he? He knew who the guilty person was. He knew he'd committed those crimes. He knew his background. But did he quell the riots? No. He just wanted to condemn the white working class as far-right knuckle draggers. He makes me sick. Let's be absolutely honest. There can't be anybody in the country, including his wife, even Lord Ali, who thinks he can solve the problem. And do you know why? He's reacting, not leading. And it isn't just the small boats. What about the grooming gangs? The Muslim rapist gangs? There's still no national inquiry into it. The whole country, again, I haven't met anybody who's against it, really. A few people say, well, we've had one already, but it was a wide-ranging debate that. We need one just into this cultural situation. It's not racist. It's plain common sense. We need to know. And if Starmer had any brains, well, he must have some brains. He's a lawyer. But if he had any intelligence, any kind of feel for the public, he'd say, yeah, we're going to have an inquiry. You're right. I got that wrong. But see, the problem is there's so many things he's got wrong. He'd be apologizing from now until the riots break out. Why can't we have an inquiry? I'll tell you in very simple terms, ladies and gents, because the truth is inconvenient. Inconvenient to the establishment. The truth behind the grooming gangs doesn't fit the approved narrative. And if council leaders are involved as well, turning a blind eye, police, social workers, head teachers, if some of the rapists indeed were police officers as well, it's a major problem, a major inconvenience. But I'm sorry, the rape and defilement of young girls, the ruination of their lives is much more important than political sensitivities, and dare I say, even more important, Keir, than votes. I know why you're soft peddling on the Muslim grooming gangs, and so does everybody else in the country. You're worried about their vote. Well, I'm going to talk about that in this podcast as well, because that's frightening about the sectarian, religious-based voting that we're now getting. We are in a terrible position. But back to the grooming gangs. There's a feather there. I don't know where that's come from. A white one. Victims ignored, communities betrayed, and those in power keep on looking the other way. But hang on, I haven't finished yet, because it's not just the politicians. Let's talk about the BBC. Let's talk about Sly News. They avoid these topics. We've got no trust in the mainstream media anymore. The media, I've told you for ages now, they're basically in bed with the political establishment, either metaphorically or absolutely right, doing it with them. It's a disgrace. How many pedos have been exposed as well in Parliament? So then you begin to think, Cyril Smith, etc., etc. What is going on? They're taking the proverbial. That's what's going on. And soon it'll crack. It'll splinter because people will have enough. Just like in Southport, it broke. They weren't thugs. Oh, there was another report as well today, again saying all the people who got arrested in Teesside when they rioted all came within a 12-mile radius. Do you remember when Starmer was telling us they were booking day trips to come and riot? All absolute bullshit, right? And he needs to be put into an inquiry and asked, well, why did you say that, Sir Keir? What was your evidence? Because he may have had some evidence at the time, to be fair to him. But it all looks a bit suspicious. So the media the lamestream mainstream media won't ask the hard questions. They're protecting the powerful. And that's why people now no longer trust them. So you can't use the media to get over positive images, positive ideas, ways of bringing us together. This country is fractured, broken. I say it's at breaking point. I think it's already broken in lots of places. But meanwhile, he's hot-trotting it all over Europe, isn't he? He wants to fix the borders of Ukraine and defend Ukraine whilst leaving our borders, particularly at Dover, wide open. What is this man on? We pay his wages. His first priority is the defence of the British people. Well, he's not doing it. But then again, let's be fair, nor did Rishi Sunak or the clown Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson, when it comes to the rape gangs, he said, oh, we're going to spaff a load of money up the wall investigating that. Yes, we are, Boris, because these girls were raped. And likewise, we're not going to have open borders and let everybody in. So all of these leaders, they seem much more concerned with defending Ukraine or other countries than Britain. They disgust me. Let me just take some of your comments because you're going mental on that today. Please press the like button. If you're liking what I'm saying or you like my show and you've been telling people about it, one of the ways you can really help me is to press the like button. That means the algorithm thinks I'm popular and puts it out to even more people. Very simple. And also, if you want to help fund these podcasts, please go to www.buymeacoffee.com and donate anything from $5 upwards. You'll see how it works. Or you can do it on here. So wherever you want, thanks and super thanks and the rest of it. If you want to do it, have a look into it. Chopper MK50. The irony is, if it does kick off, John, it'll be inner city areas first, which also are predominantly Labour voting areas. They're not going to be Labour for much longer. They're going to be Reform, aren't they? Anyone who demanded a national statutory inquiry jumping on the far right bandwagon when he was head of CPS is like being judge and jury at the same time. He put the whip on the Labour MPs. He did, to stop the inquiry. You're right. Moonhawk says on YouTube, there's no sign of Starmer's bright new tomorrow, is he? And the past inquiries were a whitewash, says Rianne Thomas. Hello, Rianne. I've put you up there now. And I start putting all the comments up. I forgot how to do that. I do apologize. I am useless. Right. If you want to join in, you know what to do. Get commenting. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep on telling you about the problem we're in. Let's get to pensioners. Meanwhile, pensioners are having their winter fuel allowance, as you know, taken away just to balance the books of Rachel Thieves. It's incredible. Today, she wanted to nick people's pensions so she had more money in Britain. She cocked up in the budget, and the 28 billion black hole, we still haven't been told what it was and how much of it is there spending. Just how the hell did we get here with such a bunch of dumbos in charge? People believe as well, and especially after Southport, here we are, the police, that we've got two-tier policing and two-tier justice. We've got two-tier Keir in charge, or Keir or take all the gear in charge. And basically now we've got one rule for them and another for the rest of us. And after Southport, after we were proved right, effectively, that belief has hardened. So the trust in law and order or in the police, and it breaks my heart to say this, because my dad was a copper, as you know. My stepbrother was a copper for 30-odd years as well. Breaks my heart, and I represented the police federation at one point. No one trusts them anymore. The general reaction is, if it's a copper, he's going to arrest you for nothing, or he'll be corrupt, or he'll do this. What a state. Because if trust in the law goes, what's next? But you know that old lady outside all the courts, you know, the lady of justice, where she's balancing both sides of the argument. We all know that's not really happening, don't we? And that's a major problem as well. Craig Urquhart says, I'm not in the slightest racist, John, but I observe so many more streets full of, in my opinion, immigrants that don't seem to be able to work, with 4 kids hanging off a pushchair. It's an observation. Some people would call you racist on the BBC. They'd have you for that, mate. But that's your opinion. Starmer knows he's losing the public to reform, so he's trying to copy their policies on immigration, John. People aren't stupid. They can see right through him. That's from CBR 99. I can't put them up. I've got a slight technical fault at the moment, so I'll just read out the comments, okay? I'll see if that clears in a minute. So where now? No faith or trust in the police or the judicial system. No faith or trust in the political system. It's all gone. Not just Starmer's fault. It's this whole bunch of self-serving pigs in Westminster, all from the expenses scandal through to today. They're just looking after themselves. Snouts in the trough like pigs. They don't care. And eventually they'll eat each other as well. So, reform's rising because people are done, finished, fed up to the back teeth with broken promises, hollow, false, fake speeches like we got yesterday, and stitched up parties where you can only become an MP if you're an identikit of Keir Starmer, if you follow what I mean, or the other side. You've got to be really fitted in. You can't be a maverick anymore. Well, I think we, the public, have had enough. And then, of course, you've got Starmer himself. How's he going to lead us out of this pit of despair? His approval ratings are the worst on record in living memory. So he's not going to suddenly be able to turn us around and say, come on. I think that's what he thinks he's going to do. When he says to Zelensky, the whole of Britain is behind you, that's what he's trying to bull himself up. Nobody's behind him. And I certainly don't want him behind me. Ronnie Hurst, our young girls have totally been ignored, but this will come back and bite them. Goodbye, Labour. Yeah, but you see, say goodbye, Labour. Unless Reform have got their act together, what have we got instead? That's the problem, isn't it? Billions to the UK for 100 years. What's this? We're just waiting for arms. That's the only thing that's stopping us from kicking off. Now, come on, don't be daft. I'm not talking about promoting a civil war here. I'm saying in the heat of the summer, and it's been blooming hot today, there's often riots. Evening, John. Please stop calling him Sir Keir. He doesn't deserve that title. He's just a waste of space, and he's hopeless. Jess Phillips admitted to cover-up, says Rianne. Well, not quite, but she certainly was very careful because she had a rough time of it in the general election because there was a Muslim candidate up against her. And this is one of the things I'll talk about in a minute about the sectarian voting, which scares the hell out of me. If I suddenly said I'm setting up the white party, the white fat Christian party, they'd have me in prison straight away, wouldn't they? Or you give me all your forms, your election forms, and I'll fill them in for you and I'll send off for the post. We know what's going on. Why do they treat us like this? But Keir Starmer, he just doesn't get it. When he got his arse smacked last week, in those elections, he should have, I've said this before, he should have shown humility. Instead, he said, I've got to go quicker and harder. He thinks we think he's just giving us medicine like our mums did. And when our mums used to say to us, if it doesn't taste nasty, it won't do you any good. And that therefore we'll swallow it. Well, we won't swallow it, Keir. And we certainly won't swallow your absolute bullshit on every subject at the moment. You're not a leader. You're leading us to hell and back. Oh, I don't even think we're going to come back. You talk tougher. When anybody challenges you And you go on about your record. I was the director of the not DWP. What was it? Crown Prosecution Service. I was this. I was the other. I was the first person to do this. But people are poorer. People are getting angrier. People are feeling more hopeless and helpless than ever, Keir. You claim to lead, but no one's following you, son. No one. Look, go down any high street. And again, it isn't just him. It's political failure for the last 10, 15 years. How many shops are empty? How many charity shops? Even the charity shops are going bust now. Look at the bills. Look at families cutting back. I mean, thank God you can't buy any. I went to the co-op here in the village where my daughter lives. There's nothing on the shelves because they've been hacked. But in a way, that's a good thing because no one's got any sodding money, have they? You've got to laugh at this situation. And then this lady was telling me in the bakery part, she said, oh, yes, she said, you remember when Barclays, their credit card, she said, I couldn't spend any money and I couldn't take my money out. And just like, tink, I'm going to do a podcast about this sometime because that's the problem, isn't it? They've got us by the short and curlies, these banks, these financial institutions. They reckon the kids who have hacked the co-op, M&S, and there's one other shop, isn't there? I can't remember which one. Oh, it was Harrods. They reckon they're kids who have done it. Kids. God help us. Look at youth unemployment. I mean, they may as well do it, these kids, because there ain't no jobs for them. Look at the state of the pensions at the moment. People are suffering, and he can't even see it. And I know it's terrible what's happened about his ex-houses being attacked. But as far as I can see, that's 3 houses or 4 houses they're showing us on the telly. So does he really understand what it is to be skint? Has he ever been skint? Has he ever had to turn the settee upside down to see if there's any cash in there? Has he ever done that? Working people, if you got a job, you're taxed to the absolute bone. Young people can't afford homes. They're never going to get on the housing ladder. They may never even get a council house or social housing. And the elderly can no longer afford to heat their houses, if indeed they want to keep them, or maybe they've got to flog them so they can get care in their old age. This isn't just mismanagement. It's collapse. It's collapse. Let me just go back here. Daz Wellings. Oh, thank you very much indeed, Daz. Let me see if it works. Wait a minute. Oh, no. There we are. A super sticker. He's just donated a £5. Thank you, Daz. That's very kind of you indeed. Anybody else want to donate? It's simple to do. Daz will tell you in the comments because I don't know. But thank you very much indeed, Daz. It's very much appreciated. So, where are we? The big thing he said yesterday, and I agreed with him, he said, we're an island of strangers, meaning, different communities not really mixing. Well, I agree with that, and I want them to mix. I mean, and now he's saying you've got to be able to speak English. If you don't speak English, then you can't come in the country. And all. Well, we should have said this 20 or 30 years ago. That's down to Blair. Blair thought it was okay for everybody to come in and speak whatever bloody language they wanted, never to mix. Some of those women never go out the house, and they're on benefits, and then they have 4 or 5 kids. It's ludicrous, the situation we've landed in. The birth rate in this country is going down faster than the death rate, right? And not only that, that's amongst mostly the Western or the whiter people in the country. The people who have come in later, they are having more babies. And thank God they are, because we're going to need them. Just like that's why we need immigration. There's nothing wrong with managed immigration, but you can't have a free-for-all. And also, you can't have an island of strangers. He's right on that level. We've got to come together. But to come together, you got to have, it's like team sport, isn't it? When I was at school, we played rugby, and our best player was a guy called Rob Smith. He was absolutely brilliant, right? But Ken Cook, our PE teacher, said, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So it was all about making me better, I suppose. But it was important to do that. It's the same with the country. You got to bring them all together. Keir Starmer doesn't understand any of this. It's a different world. He makes out he's a working guy. He's not working class. His dad owned a factory. None of them are working class anyway by the time they get to Parliament. So he did say it best when he said we're becoming an island of strangers, separate communities, separate lives, never mixing. And our voting is becoming, as I said earlier, sectarian. There shouldn't be Muslim only parties. I know they don't describe themselves as that, but that's what they are. Nothing should be based on religion or identity or, dare I say it, resentment. No. Parties for all and a mixture of people. That's like when we had the factories. I think I've talked about this many times. When we had factories, the younger lads went there to work and the women and the rest of it, and they mixed with the older guys. And if they got out of control, the older guys would give them a clip. That was a kind of, I don't know, a civilizing nature of the way factories worked. That's all gone. Can't do that to a bloody robot, can we? So voting's becoming sectarian. We're kind of not only separate lives in terms of our religion or our belief system, or dare I say, even our color of our skin, but also age. Young kids have no respect for older people. Zero. I mean, some do, of course, but you know where I'm coming from. Because they don't know older people. Or we don't know them. We're just intimidated by them. How do we change that? We are not one nation anymore. We are fragmented. 7 likes, that's rubbish. Loads of people watching. Press the like button, for God's sake. So I believe all the conditions are here for the perfect storm. Discontent. I like this line. Division and desperation. Do you like that? Huh? Discontent, division, desperation. And unless the political class wakes up, I believe this summer the country could explode. And no one is going to be able to say they weren't warned. I'm giving you a clear warning now of what is happening. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you agree, subscribe. Press the like button so you never miss another show. Rhiannon Thomas says then he should allow the inquiry instead of boasting about it. Thank you. Daz Wellings says the way to give John any money is you hit the dollar logo bottom right, folks, for super stickers. Thank you very much indeed. Seaside, I got this working again now. Seasider Mark says the UK will eventually end up with states within a state. A country divided cannot stand. Well, I think you might be right there, Seasider, but it's going to be horrendous for our kids and our grandkids going forward. This country, and I don't think I'm being over dramatic, this country is in a terrible state. It's not even in the pits. It's lower than the pits. No one's got any money. No one's really got any good jobs. Everyone's scared their jobs might go tomorrow. I was watching on GB News, Nissan have said something about keeping jobs here. And it's like major news. Everyone is petrified. That's why they're petrified of Trump. He's just done a deal this afternoon with the Saudi Arabians. You can't mess with him now. You've got to have him on side. But Starmer thinks he can bugger him about. Maybe not the right tone to use it. I do apologize. But anyway, it's crazy. And the thing with Starmer, I keep saying this. I used to do like I do apologise for that. The sound went again. This is why you need to donate so I can buy a proper cable and not keep losing the sound. Can you hear me now? You can hear me now, can't you? Graham Ritchie say no audio. Seaside of Mark says no sound. I was just building up my big denouement, my ending. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rianne says back now. Thank you. I do apologise. It's because I've got this poxy wire into my Mac that keeps going loose. So I apologise. I'll try and buy one this weekend and make that better, because when I'm getting passionate, my hands are going everywhere. And so, you know, I think I'll just kick or flick the wire out. But this country is in a terrible situation. Somebody's got to get a hold of it. It can't be Starmer. I just hope that Farage can do it. But I don't see that he's got enough people around him yet. And will he get the right kind of people? Because he's not going to have the press on his side, is he? Everyone's going to hate him. Absolutely hate him. Which is why I also say, don't pick on Trump. Don't pick a fight with Trump. We don't want anybody in the British press calling him a racist, calling him this, calling him that. I've just watched the BBC News, and that Sarah Smith, she went on about he landed, and they've pulled out all the stops for him, right? Beautiful vistas where the plane lands, and double-barreled blooming staircase for him to walk down, and all the rest of it. And she goes, and he's even put on a tie to match the carpet. And I thought, here we go, here comes the sarcasm. Here's a man who is in a kingdom where the king is the king, and here's a man come to visit him who'd like to be the same. It's like, why are you doing that? Why are you, in every commentary, the BBC, putting Trump down? Hasn't he done quite well recently? He's having a meeting this week with Putin and Zelensky. He's going to bring peace there. He's moved forward the disgusting state of affairs with Israel and Hamas. Disgusting, I'm referring to Hamas, of course. What's your problem? What's your problem? We need all the friends we can get, and we need a leader in this country. God, I pray it'll be Farage, but I am desperately worried that something's going to happen this summer, that it's going to explode. Starmer will overreact, and we'll be back in an even worse position than we are now. But it's hard to say to people, don't misbehave, isn't it? Because we all feel the frustration. We all feel the anger. We're all on Skid Row. It just can't carry on. Rianne says, Starmer is so groveling with Trump. Yeah, he is. But Trump can see through that. That's like when Starmer did the Farage impression. It doesn't work. Because he hasn't got conviction. He doesn't believe in, I don't think he believes in anything. Moonhawk says Trump can do no right in their eyes. That's right. Right, I'm not going to say any more about that because we're going off the subject a bit. I hope you enjoyed, or at least it's made you think about what I've been saying tonight, because I do believe we are at breaking point. And I do believe it's going to take somebody with vision. Maybe it needs somebody who says, look, can we put aside our political differences? Britain is in the shit. We've got to work together to get out of it. They won't, though, will they? Because they'd much rather argue. They'd much rather score petty political points. Oh, you were in power for 14 years. Why didn't you sort it out? You know, say about the child abuse or whatever. It's just ridiculous. People want politicians to say, well, that was then. Here's now. What do we do now? How can we solve it now? How can we put the great back into Britain now? Anyway, I'm also going to stop because Craig's just reminded me on the message. He says, good luck tonight, Gaunt. I thought, what's he on about? It's not a Z in the month. He's talking about the mighty Sky Blues. Yeah, I've got to go because we're playing tonight in the second leg of our game. We're 2-1 down. I think we'll do it. Thistle says, I enjoy your show. Thank you very much indeed. If you're a new listener, never watched me before, whatever, or you're listening on the podcast, that's fine. You can also watch me on the TV, on Jon Gaunt TV, on YouTube, right? And then if you want to listen to the podcast later, you can, or you can do it the other way around. They're all available all the time. If you want to see all of my catalogue, the best place now is YouTube. Just put in Jon Gaunt, all one word, no H, Jon Gaunt TV, then TV at the end of it, Gap TV, and it will come up, and then you can subscribe. I don't like using that word because it makes it sound like you got to pay. You don't. The subscription is free. You can become a member if you want and pay £1 or £2. But if you just want to be getting alerts every time I'm doing a live show, just subscribe. Rianne Thomas says, it's my first ever watch. Well, great, Rianne. Welcome aboard. Now, when we finish talking, make sure you press the subscribe button. Then you'll know all the time when I'm going to be on, and you can be part of the family. I can't believe how far we've built it up. I mean, I started off, we had no subscribers. We've now got 3.5, nearly 4,000. But the best thing, did you see the thing I put up about the views? We got 300,000 views now from a standing start. And in fact, I must just tell you, it's now 325. I think by tomorrow morning, it may well be 350,000. I'm waiting for it to get to 500,000. And then, boy, am I going to celebrate, right? Petty, isn't it? Childish, silly. But and if you've not tried the shorts, I've got AI now to make these little shorts. So they're like 5 minutes, 50 seconds, 40 seconds long. So if you just want a quick blaster Gaunty, if you go to the main menu on YouTube, you'll see videos, live shows, and in the middle it says shorts. Click that button, and like tonight's show, they cut it down to like 10 little segments. So it's good. It's interesting. When I say they, it's a computer. It's AI. All right. Enid says, I'd vote for you, John. I ain't standing. I ain't getting involved in politics. And Seasider says, you're doing great, John, and puts his thumb up. Well, a lot of that is down to people like you, Seasider, who have supported me for so long, but also have donated. That all makes it better. So thank you very much indeed. And when people say, what are the donations for? You can tell them now, it's for the wire. I'm only joking. It didn't go that time, but you're with me. I'm off. I'm off to see the football. If you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. I'll see you tomorrow at 6:30 on the dot. If we win, I might be hungover. See ya. Bye.